The United Nations Office for Drug and Crime has just released a report of the first large-scale 2019 of drug use. Its results indicate that up to 25% of our population is involved in substance abuse of one kind or the other, with a high morbidity and mortality rate. The aim of the report is to provide the baseline information needed for the design and implementation of effective prevention, treatment, and care services that are evidence-based and targeted to reduce the demand for drugs and prevent the morbidity and mortality attributable to drug use in Nigeria. Although sometimes drug use and crime are closely related, drug or substance abuse itself is a health issue, and a serious one for that matter, and should be handled as such, we are told, quickly too. Today on Bridges, we have stakeholders and caregiver to speak to the needs of drug users for mental health and inclusion in our care or rehabilitation system, as they undoubtedly are part of us, those who are so affected with the drug abuse concern that we have, and as we aspire to build a society where no one is left behind. Welcome. I'm Moji Makanjuola, and this is Bridges. This edition will look at drug use, the abuse, and what is the missing gap for those who are so affected. Thank God we have the Presidential Advisory Committee on Elimination of Drug Abuse in place, but then, as all the stakeholders have said, is a collective responsibility. So that's where we're going today. And quickly, on my immediate left, I'd like to bring on the former chairman of NDLEA, Otumba Lanre Pimesho, who also is driving a society without drug abuse. You're welcome on Bridges. And next to him is our friend from the field, Ame A. Zion, who heads Mandate Health Empowerment Initiative. You're welcome on Bridges.
Thank you very much.
And he'll be sharing his experience, what he's seen in the field, and how serious this issue is. Now, I also have with me from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Ame Inalogo. Sir, you're welcome on Bridges. And the man who also ensures that we know what is happening around some things pertaining to drugs, and also an advocate for a Nigeria free of drug abuse, is the Director, Public Affairs from NAFDAC, Dr. Abubakar Jimo. You're welcome again on Bridges. Thank you for your time. Now, gentlemen, for this edition, we're having these stakeholders, men, but I can assure you that this conversation will continue, and we're going to have women at the neck when this conversation continues in the next episode of Bridges. But quickly, from your experience as having headed the NDLEA at one time, quickly share with us the concern and why now you're so agitated and asking every hand to come on deck to ensure that we rid ourselves of this menace.
Thank you for having me. No responsible father or grandfather like I am will have the opportunity of knowing the level of drug abuse in the country and will be able to sleep thereafter without caring about what will happen to his own children. Number one. Number two, I found out that interviewing drug users, they also want to be helped. Number three, I discovered that we have a growing attitude of just blaming and blaming and blaming. Somebody do something. And I discovered that if we do not do something, it's like you carry your car on the way to Kaduna, the car breaks down, and you stop and you are insulting the manufacturer, you are insulting. Is that going to move the car? Will that solve your problem? Insulting. Do something. and we can confront this. It's not insurmountable. And we have tried it, we're getting results. So why not on a national scale?
And you think that, first, I think the first question I should have asked is that, is it as serious as people want us to believe?
It is very serious. The statistics you just gave out is a tip of the iceberg. In Lagos alone, we have over 2.3 million people who are drug users. 2.3 million. I went to Indonesia. They had only, the whole country, and their population is more, they had a prevalence of 3 million, and they were panicking. They were in emergency. They were restless because of what it could lead to. It's really a figure. There are statistics. You can't put it under the pillow and sleep. We have 14.6% prevalence as against the world statistics of 5.6. That is almost times 3 the world prevalence. The world is battling with 5.6%. And they think that there's a big problem. We're battling with almost times 3 that. So that should wake up everybody.
Yeah.
Faith-based organizations, NGOs, parents, school handlers, caregivers, everybody must be brought on board.
Thank you, Otumba. Now, you work in the field, and so you see a lot of this.
That's correct.
Yes. What's your experience?
Yeah, it's not really far-fetched from what he has, tried to express. It's really, really a very serious concern, and as a matter of urgency, right, we need to see that the concerns and the issues around drug use and abuse and the disorder of the same is something that is affecting the productivity of the population of this country. And until something is done, when I mean done, until something is effectively done, right, by engaging a multi-sectorial a group of persons to actually act on this thing as a matter of urgency.
What are the gaps that you see in the
It's really going to be a very bad situation.
What are the gaps that you see?
Now, the gap I see, right, is that there is no really even awareness. People are not really even aware about this.
Are we in denial, or are we aware?
Well, the issue of even denial is something, again, that is a huge thing that we have to talk about. But beginning from it is the awareness. Are they even really aware of this thing? Are Nigerians aware of these things called drug substance abuse? How is it hurting them? How is it really
I'll just take that away
future,
from you,
right?
and go straight to our brother from the NDLEA. What are the kind of drugs that Nigerians are exposed to and they're abusing? It's not just selling,
no,
but use.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Well, it's my pleasure again to be part of this bridge, and this is the bridge that should take us to the promised land.
I pray.
And the promised land for us will be a drug-free Nigeria. The statistics that we have and the awareness that Paseda has generated is just to collaborate what NDLA has been crying about. These challenges have been there. For us as an agency, of course, the most prevalent of the drugs that are used here will be cannabis sativa, the Igbo, which, for obvious reasons, is cultivated in commercial quantities. But the fear is that beyond the ones that we were beaming our lights on as illicit, we now have the striking, I don't want to use the word stinking, but it's close to it, striking prevalence of the pharmaceutical opioids, tramadol, cough syrup with codeine, and all that. There's hardly any part of this continent that you don't find people who are having challenges with it. And so it goes beyond the usual Igbo. Now we have the opioids that are commonly used, but there's another one at the corner, the methamphetamine.
Which one?
Methamphetamine is a product that comes out of some other precursors like the ephedrine. Methamphetamine, as at 2 weeks ago, NDLA had dismantled about 17 labs. And methamphetamine is one of the most potent drugs in the whole of the world. Apart from its production in Nigeria on commercial quantities, there has also emerged a domestic market. Yes, people not just smoke the methamphetamine, they do it poorly. mix it up with cannabis, and if methamphetamine alone is as potent as somebody, one of the last experiences I had was handling a case of a young man who, under the influence of methamphetamine, had to rape an 80-year-old woman. I mean, that's how scary it is. And we're not just talking about this drug being used alone. It's being combined with other drugs. So for us, it's overwhelming. For us, it's striking. For us, it's thinking. And that's the kind of word that people don't want to, but that's the reality. We better confront this.
Yes, and in all of this conversation, we are lucky that we're aware of it. I'll come to you now, Dr. Jimo, as a public affairs expert. What should we change the narrative that we have around surrounding drug abuse and, you know, the illicitness and the fact that a lot of our people cross age, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's not just man.
Yeah, basically,
Gender.
the basic, the very first pragmatic approach that we need to take is issue of acceptance that we do have a problem. We do have a problem. Right now, we have not actually accepted that we have a national calamity within our hand. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder based on the statistics that we have just reeled out. The United Nations, the national survey, the result was, it was conducted in 2018 and was just recently released. Just like the former DG NDLA pointed out, the statistics are scary.
Very.
And they're scary, and is way beyond the global average of 5.6. And our national average is almost tripling, more than triple of the global average in 2016. What does that mean? It does talk a severity of problem, of the abuse, of the illicit. We are talking of the abuse of the hard drugs that people are used to. There is also the other aspect that NAFDAC is dealing with now, which is, you rightly pointed out, the issue of tramadol, the issue of containing cough syrup, which we call the illicit prescriptions here that are also being abused. So we have a kind of a melange of a problem here. The illicit has already been abused, and even the other ones that people should not touch are also married together. So we have a big problem, a humongous problem on our hand that calls for a national emergency. And that is why we are very grateful that the present administration, President Muhammad Buhari, has confronted this monster by setting up a presidential advisory committee on the elimination of drug abuse called PASEDA, which was inaugurated on 10th of December in 2018, barely 11 months in operation. And we are very glad we have two members here, my humble self and the former DG NDLA. So I don't want to preempt the report because it has just been submitted to Mr. President.
Yes, I know, but the narrative around it.
The narrative, yeah.
Yes. What do we need to do? Because we need to start speaking out.
We need to start speaking out, and within the first 11 months of our operation, you can see a kind of a renaissance of a public awareness campaign, because before everybody was silent. There were existing agencies, the problem was becoming overwhelming, and that was why PASEDA was created. Within the last 11 months, a lot of public sensitization, advocacy visit, all are crisscrossing the whole country. We've done that, which crystallized into the submission of the report. So there is a heightened level of awareness now, but we need to do more. We need to bring it to national consciousness, and also tell Nigeria that this is a collective responsibility, that all hands must be on deck, government must be involved, everybody, what to call the socialization agents, the family, the parents, teachers, faith-based organization, community leaders, traditional rulers, everybody, NGOs, everybody the government must take the lead, and that is where we are.
Perhaps one of the, you want to come in?
Yes,
yes.
I was going to say that, that's very correct, but we also need to look at efforts that have been made before now, and look at where exactly are we missing it. Because the issue of drug and substance abuse, like you have rightly said, is not new, right? I mean, we've had, WHO, we've had UNODC, we've had the likes of European Union coming together with the Federal Ministry of Health to develop a lot of documents that were supposed to be used to cushion all the effects we're beginning to see right now, that is right before us, right? But what has happened to all those materials? What has happened to all of those
need to start
right?
on implementation.
So you see, I think with the way the whole concerns around drug and substance abuse is staring at us right now, we have to dust all those documents and begin to use them and begin to see how we can really practically begin to like come up with not experimented projects but real-time projects, and especially in the rural communities.
Thank you. I'd just like to take that and come back to Otumba. I mean, with the presidential committee, you crisscross the country, and we are tracking. Now, what are you thinking? Because obviously, we do have a concern that we have a lot of Nigerians who are hooked on these drugs. How now do we help them? Because we won't just say we would leave them and try to contain that other people are not affected. What do we do about those that are affected now?
Yes. I will start by telling parents, if you stumble on something that looks like your ward is in trouble, the first thing is not to panic. The first thing is to let your son know or your child know that, yeah, we have a problem on our hands. We can see that you are in trouble. But it's not totally hopeless. If you are willing and ready to cooperate, there is a solution to this thing. Number two, we have political will of Mr. President, who says, I'm not going to leave this problem behind in 2023. So this is not a problem I'm going to leave you with, Nigerians, in 2023. That's why he set up PASIDA. He says, rather than tackling symptoms of armed robbery, of kidnapping, of Boko Haram, go to the root. Why will a human being do that? Why will you stop me? I'm traveling to Kaduna. Why will you stop me to collect my things and still want to kill me? If you have not encouraged by the substances of abuse that you have taken. So he said, rather than treating symptoms, let me go to the root. And I think this is fundamental. This will lead us a lot to leapfrog confronting this situation. Number two, now there is a study. Rather than haphazard guesswork, non-evidence based before, now we have a study on the ground. We have approached it scientifically. We've gone to all the agencies involved to see what their problems are. We know where the government has not done well. We know where the officers have not done well. The next phase you are going to see now will be very exciting. There are programs to be reeled out. Number one is that there are over 80% Nigerians that have never touched drugs, and we don't want them to go there.
I agree totally with you, Otumba, but there are other members who comes from supposedly good families and are, because of the excesses available to them, are involved. Oh, don't you agree with me, sir?
I agree with you. I agree with you. Just like Otumba said, a more dynamic approach should be.
What kind of bridge should we be building?
The bridge, I think we should start by an aggressive sensitization. Sustained sensitization. If parents need to know that for that child who is already involved, that the child shouldn't become an outcast. Parents need to know that treatment can work. Parents need to know areas and facilities where they can get treatment. Parents need to know that stigmatization should not be allowed. It is as bad as even in the immediate home. The child who is involved in drugs is stigmatized. Yeah. Yes, when he's approaching the house, there's a shout, oh, he's around, lock the door, where's my phone, where's my iPad? Everybody's running helter-skelter. And so, what do you expect him to do? Come and sit down like a gentleman. He goes back to where he's accepted. Yes, so let us sensitize that treatment is possible and is workable. Let parents understand that so many persons have gone into drugs and come out of it. It is possible to come out of drug use. Let parents be aware of where facilities are available.
Are these?
But again,
we have to make this public.
Yes, again, where facilities are available, they should be affordable.
That's it.
Denial. It's fun now when I look at the papers and I hear a home has been discovered. Is it that we have never been aware that those homes were there? Yes, their practices may not be orthodox, but what is the alternative to the parents? Why are we blaming parents for taking them to those homes when there are no alternatives to it? And so we are believing that the next bus stop as we cross this bridge is that there should be centers where people can get treatment. And these treatments must be accessible, they must be affordable.
How would you assess what the media is doing? Because they are the ears and eyes and mouth of the society.
I think we need to galvanize the mass media because the media, they have different agendas. There are so many problems under the sun that are competing for attention, and you actually do not blame the media because they have so much a handful to contend with. So, but right now, that is why PASEDA is taking the lead, coordinating all agencies of government. And when I talk of PASEDA, NAFDAC is there, NDLA is there, Custom is there, UNODC is there. It's an umbrella for all the collective. We have about 27 members under PASEDA, including Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also the wife of the Vice President. So this is how top-notch the government has shown a concerted effort and concern of upscaling this fight confrontally.
So the media has a role.
The media has a role, and basically that's why I'm a member of that committee.
Yes, our time is fast spent on this conversation. Yes, you want to jump in?
I was going to say something when you did mention the issue of intensive sensitization, right? This is very, a very positive approach, and that is why I would like to say also here that the UNODC through the funding from European Union, they are currently doing a lot of programs, and Mandated Empowerment Initiative is one of which is leading the sensitization in Nigeria. And recently we trained quite a number of media health journalists. And this is because there is a wrong reporting around the issue of drug use and drug disorder. Now, so it is very important that the media health reporters understand these concerns and see how we can have a right reporting around the issue of this concern, so that it will help in reaching out the right information to the remaining stakeholders who will form the multi-sectorial arm of dealing with this issue. Because until they are better informed and have the right understanding of what the problem is, the solution will be far-fetched.
Okay, right.
Yeah, the next phase you are going to be witnessing very soon is that people will be held accountable for responsibilities given to them in this area. People, if you are not ready to do the work, there are other Nigerians who are ready to do the work. Whatever responsibility is given to you, you are going to be held accountable.
Yeah, and that's it. I think that is a solid bridge to build. Yes. Viewers, this conversation will continue. Because if you have ever seen someone who is affected or who is a drug abuser, you don't want to live that life. You see, it ruins you in every strata of human development. And Bridges will be on top of this to ensure that together we can have a Nigeria where we have a society that is drug-free. It's achievable, right?
It's achievable.
It's attainable, right?
That's true. But with a lot of work.
With a lot of work. So the work will continue. And it takes you and I and all of us to get the work done. Thank you for watching. We'll be back, and I promised you, we'll still come back and have more conversation running on this depressing, I would say, depressing issue, drug abuse among Nigerians. Bridges will be back, and I hope you would also get in touch with us so that we also together can help all the stakeholders quickly contain and arrest drug abuse in Nigeria. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time next week.